everyone to Who Wants to Pass CTI, part of the Today Show. Our contestants and students will face 4 questions in a topic to get my approval seal and pass the course CTI. Joining us today are Dameli and Trang. How are you guys today?
We're doing well.
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you.
So now why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the audience?
Hi everyone, my name is Dameli and I'm a first-year IBCoM student playing the game of passing CTI Today. I enjoy looking at online games from a research perspective. I think that they really have the potential to be even more useful in our society.
And I'm Zhang. I'm also a first-year IBCoM student. Unlike Dameli, who sounds kind of nerdy. Sorry, I'm actually a game enthusiast who wants to work as a game designer. I also love games so much, like I don't think I have actually gone through a day without playing video games.
Well, the 24 hours unplugged experiment must have been a delight for you, huh, Trang?
I have had the worst day, so it wasn't that bad.
That's great to hear from both of you. Now you two know what you're in together for, right? It was not a great year for you two. We won't go into the details of that. But today's competition is all about making things right again. Answer the questions correctly, and I'll give you the glory of summer after the first year. But if you get one wrong, unfortunately, I will have to see you at school where you'll be retaking the whole course. In case of hardship, you will also get the chance to call your friends or even ask the audience. And for all the other IBCoM students who are watching this from their computer, congrats for doing such a good job, especially in CTI Today. But you can also join in with your group mates as well, maybe to better memorize or test your knowledge, as this would be very useful for you soon. When Trang and Dameli are asked a question, a prompt will pop up for each of you as well. Make sure to use this chance and have fun with it. Now, our main contestants, Dameli and Trang, are you ready?
Yes.
Then let's start. Who wants to pass CTI? We will start with the first topic, game history and development. So you two have already studied the learning materials about this topic, right? Did you have any thoughts going on through them?
Well, I only thought that this game was sucked so much, and I get that they were games from 15 years ago, but it still feels weird to look at them and now call them video games before online games. Can you pull the video of that game, Pong or Ping Pong? Yeah, no wonder why grandparents would prefer going outside to play. I would prefer that too, to be honest, but maybe a real ping pong game with tables would be better. There's just no fun in these pixels.
Well, I kind of thought the same as you, Trang, but that instead made me appreciate how the game industry has gone so far since the 1960s. And technological affordances seem to really help the industry grow this big. When we first had games plugging into TVs, I think all they could do was to replicate real life. Sure, there is Space Wars, that is sci-fi, but it failed commercially, right? Maybe it was because people did not believe in games as fulfilling their fantasy of going to space and many other things. But as hardwares and graphics grow, so do the potential and expectations.
Oh yeah, I will agree with you. People seem to have more ideas about possibilities of video games as time goes on. Turns out game can narrate a storyline and build a fictional world or simulate real-life experiences, among other things. They have developed so far from just a worse replica of a real game.
That was very critical of you. Funny you should mention technological affordances and its vessels like hardwares, because I would say it's related to technological surge cycle. Please pull up the graph for me. So when technology is introduced, there's always a period of frenzy, then disappointment before it truly fits into society, right? But one of the reasons for this is because that hardware was not able to support the technology. In the past, you didn't have some great ping pong games because the computer could not match as quickly as a human. Now we might be seeing the same thing with virtual reality technology. The hardwares we have not been developed enough yet to immerse ourselves truly into another world.
So that's why people are going crazy over a new reality, but I don't feel as impressed. I think you should wait for a little bit while before buying those immersing VR headsets.
That should be something for all of us to think about. But I'm getting a little off track with the question though, so we will get right back to it. Before games were like today as we know it, they were used by scientists and hackers at universities to train AI or use in exhibitions. But which of these games broke that notion and became the first commercialized computer game, also credited as the first ever video game? A, pinball, B, tennis for two, C, space war, or D, Pong?
Okay, I think we'll go with C.
So let's just see if that answer is correct. And it is! People usually make mistake Pong as the first video game, but it was the first successful commercialized game. Tennis for Two was rather an exhibition game, and pinball was just a vessel for the debate about game effects. That leaves us with C, Space War, the first commercialized video game, although it was not a success. Great job to both of you. So I have just mentioned pinball machines, the ever-standing debate about game effects. This debate extends to online games as well, as technological affordances allow for a player's fantasy of violence and graphical images.
Then the game industry became self-regulated with ESRB ratings, although let's be honest, it was nowhere near the quality of the film industry. Games like this took around 5 to 7 years to be rated. That's not good.
I don't know. Games on the Apple Store seem to get rating pretty quickly.
Well, Demeli, you need to remember that the industry is still quite young and need more time to mature. It did grow in the last decade, though, as evidenced by mobile game ratings. But it does not solve the debate of game violence. And who is to blame for that? Is it humans or is it the games themselves?
I have my answer for that. Kids and parents, for sure. Not very much kids because they are a little bit dumb, but parents for not controlling the games and their children play. Games have violence, right? Like, why don't let them play and tell them it's bad? You let your kids play a shooting game with stupid dances and then ask why the children is doing like that in real life. They are dumb.
Very strong argument you're making there, Tran.
It's not without reason. So sick theories of game violence in intermezzo, right? They all sound like coming from technological determinism viewpoint, like as if you are the victims. The puppets controlled by the games and they poison you with violence through different ways. Are you? No, you are a human being who can distinguish fantasy and real life, and you should know that doing something like this by harming others gets you into jails.
Wait, but kids can't know that. Isn't it their normal learning mechanism to repeat what they saw on their screens? Or are you suggesting kids not to play games with any violence whatsoever? Because popular games most people play have some kind of fantasy, including brawl, fights.
No, I'm suggesting that parents control games and their possible impacts to their children. Ratings are there to make and help parents control their kids, right? Like I said, kids are dumb, but grown-ups can educate kids to be less dumb and take hold of their game consumption. Maybe like teach them that shoot, loot, and kill are fantasies, and you will get punched by the fist of justice by doing so in real life. Or quality control and help kids select games appropriate to their age. The point is, games have ratings to tame content, so parents should consider before blaming games. Why do you even let kids play them in the first place?
It's a little more complex issue with more factors involved than just games and human agency. But you have made a solid argument to advocate for games trend. The problem was you didn't tell what the 6 theories of game violence were. And I'm sure the audience is dying to recap what those theories are. But don't worry, I will give you an easier question to answer. Which of these theories suggests the impact of game violence in a positive manner? Especially, it says that by playing games, you release pent-up frustration and therefore are less likely to be violent. A, social learning theory, B, cognitive script theory, C, priming theory, or D, catharsis theory.
No idea. I don't know.
What this was? Okay, I'm not remembering any of these theories, so I will count on my audiences and use audience help.
Are you sure? The audience is counting on you.
We have no other choices.
Then please show us the answers from the audience.
Okay. Thank you, friends, for helping us out. We really appreciate that. Your answers have made me confident to choose the answer D.
Okay, let's see if that's the correct answer. Well done, everyone. And for help, here's a brief summary of the 6 theories essential. We are now halfway through the questions, but you're both being very critical towards the knowledge of games. Though the questions are not hard, I have to say I am impressed. First year summer is in your hands if you keep up your performances.
I really hope so.
Now, the third topic that we're going to talk about is serious games. For this,
Miss Veronica, I want to discuss about those games specifically regarding the 5 characteristics of games.
oh, really? Well, then we should answer the first question first and then hear your thoughts. Here it is. Out of the 5 characteristics of a game, which one does not appear in a serious game? A, voluntary participation, B, rules, C, goals, or D, feedback?
Is this a tricky question?
What do you mean?
I think none of this is the correct answer. Maybe the fifth one not listed in the answer.
I take back my compliments about you, Trang.
I can handle this one. I'm pretty sure it's A.
Of course, that is the correct answer. So how would you elaborate more on the characteristics of serious games, Demeli?
Well, I don't really agree that serious games don't have the characteristic of voluntary participation. To demonstrate that, I will use 2 games that are commercial success as examples. They look fun, but they're also serious games because if you remember Breuer and Bente's definition, serious games are games that aims to educate rather than just entertain. Trang will walk you through them.
Actually, though, I don't really know the games well. Kai knows better, but he's in the audience.
Can we call him up somehow? Miss Veronica, there is only one question left, right?
Indeed.
So maybe we can use the call for help option to bring him up here. You agree, Trang?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can call Ken down here.
Hi, everyone.
Normally the call's 30 seconds, but I'm curious to see Demeli's point. So take your time and walk us through the games.
Okay, then let's start with the first game. This is a picture of a streamer playing Teamfight Tactics, another chess game where you deploy units to fight for you and be the last one to survive. For other characteristics, rules, you have number of units deployable, different unit types, as well as different items to enhance them, and you also have health bar as your resource. Feedback, if your units are weak, you will see your units get killed in a fight and health reduced as a result. The contrary also applies if you win a fight. It affects your opponent the same way. Competition, you're fighting against 7 other players to be the lone survivor in a match. And finally, voluntary participation. Well, you have to leave that as a question to the streamer. Be warned, explicit language included.
Intended. There's no fucking way. What? Dude, what? Okay, honestly though, it's not that bad because Shadow Gargoyle is actually pretty good.
Now, the second game is Just Dance. I think Dr. Lima from our faculty also recommended this game during the quarantine. It's a very good game for exercise. Anyway, show us the clip, please.
I like the slow motion thing.
In this one, your goal is to score highest as possible. And to do so, you dance according to the instructor on screen. Feedbacks are given through a bar and the number of collected stars. There are also mega star and superstar, I don't know. But generally, you'll get perfect, okay, well, and X if you dance accordingly to them. Your competition is with other players also playing with the game, although in this game, it doesn't matter that much. People are usually really friendly. And finally, you come to the game for stress release by dancing and exercise. Simply open up the game, load into the game, and have fun.
Thank you, Con. You can go now.
Okay, good luck, Damli and Chang.
As you can see, both games are serious because one teaches strategic planning with your resources and the other one kind of teaches dancing or exercising. But both streamers still enjoy games and voluntarily played them, even if they had moments of frustration. I think that the distinction between entertainment and education has really blurred from the days when we only knew edutainment, which are quizzes in a classroom. Adults also learn through games and they voluntarily do so because the games are actually fun.
Wow, Demeli, I have to agree with you. I think that technological affordances, yes, I'm talking about that again, has helped games to become a truly fun, interactive learning tool for people every age. This shows that along with bad games that teach us violence, there can also be fun games that teach us how to be flex subjects in a controlled society. Am I right?
Okay, I play PUBG all the time. I think I'm so screwed.
Maybe. You should learn to play more healthy games, Tring.
With Dameli's revelation, course materials about games makes a lot of sense to me now. Technological affordances enable online games to become real fantasy, although it takes time to get there. Not all games are good. There are violent games affecting us that we should be wary about. When it is done right, though, game can be serious as tools to help adults learn about the world.
Yes, that's a simplified view on games today. With that knowledge, we should also take away some practical knowledge to make gaming seem more positive. Along with efforts from players to guard themselves, the burden is on game makers who put out products to the world. How can they promote serious games that are beneficial and attractive to people without violence and wasteful behaviors?
Well, I remember the uses and gratifications theory by Greenberg, Sherry, and Ruggiero. So basically, you play games to satisfy your desires. Can we have a picture of these 7 motivations? So if we look here, game makers can push more on 1 or 2 of the motivations, making them interesting to the player base. For example, a role-play world where people can join together to talk about their dream life of fairies would be fun. It satisfies players with the need for fairy fantasy, distraction, and social interaction. Or competitive games like it's auto chess or are also fun for challenges and competitions.
And I will use the self-determination theory by Desi and Ryan to make games sound better. Conditions supporting the individual's experience of autonomy, competence, and relatedness will make them engage in activities more. There can be more storytelling games where you are playing an anti-hero role on a quest that is righteous. I think a successful franchise, The Last of Us, did as well. You still do dangerous actions like killing zombie, but it does not bring joy or anything to the players. Instead, taking control of the story and watching it unfold while you race for a happy ending, that is what I think players like the most.
Great suggestions. There are other factors intertwined with games like marketing, player-based content, and even technology. But you two have a great base of game knowledge to become, good game makers or gamers or even researchers. I can already pass you two for your active contribution, but let's end it properly with a practical question. A rhythm game is trying to persuade players to play it. Based on the elaboration likelihood model, which of these advertisements is not a persuasion through the central route? A, you can play anywhere, anytime. B, you feel like you're a superstar playing your own game. C, artists from around the world appear in our songs. Or D, the gameplay is simple for everyone to enjoy. Do you two remember that in the game? What persuasion through the central route means?
It's when games use direct information to persuade us about a problem.
And the peripheral route?
Games appeal to emotions and attractiveness to persuade us.
And so the answer for this question is?
B.
Well, congratulations. You have both passed CTI. Welcome to the summer.
Thank you.
Well, folks, I guess that's it for Who Wants to Pass CTI. Stay tuned for next week when the new contestants fight to pass this course. This time
Hi guys, hope you guys all enjoy our demo segment for the Today shows. Before we leave, here's the final questions for you all. So, entertainment or serious game? So, see you guys next time.